Okay, well, thank you for joining me as always. I've been asked by Richard, one of my subscribers, to do a quick rundown on points of interest in the Litchi app. Now, before I go any further, Litchi app, if you just popped onto this video and you're wondering what the Litchi app is, it's an alternative for DJI Go and the DJI app for Phantom 2 and Phantom 3. I'm not going into detail. Subscribe to my channel, go into Apps Explained, loads and loads of videos there on Litchi and the various things it can do. If you are a Phantom 2 Vision or a Phantom 2 Vision Plus owner, Litchi for Android is a free app. It's free, costs you nothing, zero, zilch, de nada. And anything that's free is always worth getting, even if you only use it for doing the waypoints with. So moving onwards, points of interest are a point of interest on a map. It might be a tower such as Blackpool Tower, the Eiffel Tower, and as you fly past, what you can do is you can set Litchi to have the camera keep that point of interest in the middle of the frame as it flies around. A couple of little paintings I've done just to sort of explain it a little bit better. So this would be your Blackpool Tower, your Eiffel Tower. Let's say it's 100 feet high. When you set it as a POI, Litchi works out the distance, works out the height, and then it works out this purple bar, which is the camera angle. Now, obviously, as you go further away from it, the camera angle will change, but Litchi will always use basic trigonometry to work out how much that gimbal should tilt. You don't have to know the exact height. I mean, you can make a rough guess, 150 feet, 200 feet, depending. So once you put that into the POI, then you know how to do it. So I'll just take you through a quick setting up POIs on the Mission Hub. To set a POI, you use your right click of the mouse and it pops up a POI settings. And here is the altitude, 3 feet. Change that to whatever height you think it's going to be at when you fly past it. Now, I'm not 100% sure the altitude settings. I've been looking at the instructions, I couldn't seem to find anything to actually explain it better. Points of interest, the help section on the Litchi webpage is a little bit sort of brief on what to do with it. I'm just having a look through now. There's not much else really on the POI itself. Just have a quick flick through here, see if I can find anything at all. Waypoint settings, that's all for waypoints, mission settings, and how to set it up. So the best thing to do is ask on the Litchi forum if that means altitude or if it actually means height of the actual item itself. So going back to the page we're on just now, there's your POI you set up. Now I've already set up a mission for POI, which is this one here. There's my POI there, and that was me stood on a pile of rocks that was there. Now as you can see now, the POI now, all the quad as it flies around will constantly face that POI because I've set them all to look at the POI. So the POI setting, which if I just click on the first waypoint I'll show you, I've got focus POI, and as you can see set there now, I've set it to POI number 1. If there were multiple POIs, this little box will have a drop down list allowing you to choose which POI you want the quad to focus on. Now as you can see, the first one, the interpolate, automatically, the focus POI, forget interpolate, focus POI says it sets the camera to -18. As I fly further away, it sets it to -6. Remember, it says as it's further away, it doesn't have to look down as far. Again, -6, and then a -5, all the way around, -6, -7. As it gets closer, -13, and then finally -33. So I have a video now that I took out in the field of this mission. So bear with me while I just run the video. So out in the field, as you can see, I've shown the in the screen there. You can see Litchi is in the corner there, so you can see what the quad is doing. So let's start the mission up. It's uploading the mission now to the quad. Mission started, as you can see, it's zoomed in. So the first thing it does, it reaches waypoint 1, at which point the quad will then rotate because that's the way it wants to look at the POI. There you go. And the POI is me stood there in the field. Now you can see the camera does transition slightly up and down, but all the time it's keeping that small area that I've said is the POI in the frame all the time. You can see the quad now moving back towards the second waypoint. So I mean, if that was, like I say, if it's Blackpool Tower, the Eiffel Tower, you could theoretically fly around My height on this one was 98 feet. You have to look a bit of basic math yourself to work out, how high you sort of need to go to get the best shot, closest shot, etc. So come around to waypoint 4, and as you can see, the camera is nice and smooth, it's staying nice and level. 4, 5 and 6, I think we're all pretty much the same sort of gimbal height, gimbal pitch. But all the time at the moment the quad is still focused, it's still keeping that small area there, right in the middle of the frame. I'm doing a really good job of it as well. This is the first time I've flown a POI mission. I've never actually bothered before, but as Richard asked for a bit of an explanation and a show and tell, I decided that it was something that I needed to do. So I come round now to waypoint 7, and again keeping it in the centre of the frame. Come up to waypoint 8. And then that's waypoint 8 past. Now waypoint 9, and as you can see now, oh, there you go, the camera goes down and it keeps the POI. The POI is just in front of those trees. You can see the pile of rocks and the just sort of next to me on the right hand side. So that was how a POI is created on the map, and what it looks like when it's flown. I am no expert, and I just decided that, as Richard had asked, I would do a sort of a brief introduction to it. So the next one he asked me about was the interpolate function. Now I'll go back to the Litchi instruction page and we'll pull up the bit for interpolate. Let's have a look, see if I can find it on here somewhere. Interpolate, you can specify the gimbal angle, that's this part here, at the waypoint. For interpolate to work, the previous or next waypoint needs to be set to interpolate as well. Litchi will then automatically adjust the gimbal pitch angle to start and end at the specified angles and smooth the transition while travelling between the two waypoints. So I went back out into the field again. Well, first of all I created the mission. Let's go with the mission first of all. Mission, first waypoint, interpolate, as you can see down here in the corner, is set to 0. You have to have it start an interpolate figure. Now bear with me. Next one was 5 and then 10. And all the way through until I reached a figure of 90, which is looking all the way down at that point there, waypoint 19. And then I set interpolate to 0, so the camera comes back up to a full level. Now these are disabled. I don't need to have interpolate here because I've finished, as far as I'm concerned, the interpolate run for that part. Oop. And again, now at this point now the quad started to turn, and here now, because I'm going to be using an interpolate function a little bit further up, I've set the interpolate to 0. Even though it was set to 0, you have to have one before. So on to the next waypoint, and as you can see now, what I've done now is I've done a 5. Now you may notice, if I just jump across to 10 for a second, 1 is a minus figure. So for the camera to tilt down, it's a minus figure. If you want the camera to tilt up, it's a plus figure. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you do need to turn on the ability for the quad to tilt the camera up. I'll show you those in the app in a second. So it went 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and then stayed at 30 all the way down, then back to 0 again. So again, I've got a video here. I'm going to show that through. It's about 4 minutes long, so bear with me while I run this video. Okay, so here we are in the field, and as again I've put the split screen in so you can see the interpolate, the quad moving from waypoint to waypoint. So let's start the mission. I think the speed I set was about 20 miles an hour. So you can see automatically now the camera is now tilting down, and I do wish I wouldn't get pop-ups, it's annoying. The camera's tilting down. It's now at waypoint, I think it's come to waypoint 6. So at the moment, as I say, it's dropping 5 degrees every waypoint. We're now down to waypoint 9, so we're probably about halfway to being tilted fully down. Bit of a jerk there, I did notice as it dropped down again. You would obviously do this in real life, you'd choose the actual angle you wanted. As I'm dropping down in segments of 5 degrees, it's you may get a little bit of jerk on it. I don't know. Other ones I've done with a nice smooth transition. So we're now approaching waypoint 14. So it should be pretty much pointing all the way down. That's 15. I think it was 19, wasn't it, that was fully down. So it's 16 now. Coming along to 17. Coming up to 18. And then 19. At this point now, by the time she's 19, I think you can tell the camera is now pointing fully down. And then by 20, within the short space of it, back up to 0 again. Then the quad's going to come back home again. So gimbal pitch was disabled. Gimbal pitch is still disabled. Gimbal pitch was still disabled on that one. And then at 24, I set the interpolate, as you remember, to 0 because I'm going to be doing some more movements up. Props are in shot because it was a little bit windy while I was out, and the quad is fighting to get home. Now remember, I said it's a minus figure if you want to tilt the camera down during interpolate, and it's a plus figure if you want to tilt the camera up. Although all you're going to see is the props anyway, so tilting the camera up is, I don't see the reason for it. But DJI decided that people wanted it, so they were going to add it in. Okay, heading back now, we should be reaching the part shortly where it starts to apply the plus figure. Coming up. Okay, so first waypoint's coming up, and you'll see the camera, as I say, start to shift in an upwards position. There you go, there's a slight raise there as it approaches 26. Is it 26? Is it 25? 26? It's going up higher. And again, a little bit more, 27. A little bit more, 28. You can see the bottom horizon start to disappear as the camera tilts up. 29, it's almost looking at the sky. And at 30, you pretty much lost the horizon. And then stays there. And then last one, the camera will then, as you can see, go down to being fully level, and your horizon line is back, and the mission is over. So you saw the POI test and you saw the POI flight. So I put together a small flight using interpolate. I'll just take you through it quickly. First one disabled. Second one has an interpolate of 0. Third one, the quad is now rotated round to point away, and it's got an interpolate of 45, so that's a halfway sort of pointing down. By the time it reaches the trees, it should be fully pointing down. It's going to stay fully pointing down. It's then going to come back up halfway again. It's then going to come to a full level. It's going to drop down to halfway, and as it finishes overhead, it's going to be at -90 or fully pointing down. Okay, go through that again if you want. It's quite simple. First one disabled, then a 0, 45, 90, 90, 45, 0, 45 and 90. You don't have to put that many interpolates in. You could just maybe, I don't know, for instance, if I was flying across this river here, for instance, I might get to here and put an interpolate in so it's looking straight down as it passes over, and then back up to the horizon again. Where you put your interpolate functions is entirely up to you. It all depends on the mission that you're flying. So once again, let's go and have a look at this actual flight in motion. So let's start the flight. Reaches the first waypoint, turns around, it's pointing across the field, as you can see. Nice, smooth, to the right. It's coming up to the first waypoint. The speed I've slowed down to about 10 mile an hour, I think it was, for this one. And you can see the camera's now tilting down to 45 degrees at the same time that the quad rotates 45 degrees. Nice smooth shot that. And again, coming above the trees in a moment. Remember the next figure was 90, so that should be pointing straight down. Sometimes the distance, I think my distance I'd set with these were a bit far apart. There's ways of doing it so it doesn't take as long going down if you shorten your waypoints, for instance. nicely on the curve turn there. Now coming up to, I believe I set this to, is it 0? Can't remember what I set it to. Still going down to 8.5. I did set the speed to 10 mile an hour for some reason, not quite sure why I did 10. So it's still at 90 that one, isn't it? Quad's going to rotate, and this one was at 45 degrees. I've actually asked Litchi if they can put a thing on their display that shows the picture of the camera, so that you could sort of go to a point on the like this and then see what would be the best angle to include in a waypoint mission. But it's the smooth transitions from down, halfway down, fully down, to coming back up again like this at 0 as it passes each waypoint. And that's what the interpolate function is for. That gives you so much more smoothness rather than using the wheel on the controller to try and control the tilt of the camera. It knows it has this much distance and it has to have the camera down, so it works out between the 2 points just how well or how fast that camera needs to move to be able to reach the position you've set by the time it reaches that waypoint. It really is. It is a good system. It's a shame that DJI, for instance, haven't included interpolate and all these sort of functions in the DJI app. Why with the DJI app are you still having to fly and record a waypoint and then play it back once you've flown it? I don't see the logic in it. They had a waypoint system. They have got a waypoint system, the new one, available on, I think it's on the iOS, not sure if it's on Android. But it's so overly complicated. I sort of took a look at it and thought, it's too much. Litchi, alright, sorry, I'll be honest, DJI is free. That's the plus side of it. If you don't mind using the ground station, then go ahead and use it. If you think it's good, let me know. As I say, I've never really looked into it. For the cost of the DJI app and the fact you can do it on the web like this through the mission hub, and you can see what the mission is going to look like before you fly it, really can't fault it. Now you'll notice now it's actually already fully down before it reaches the waypoint. That's because the distance really was quite large. So that's why you want to keep your distances between waypoints if you do an interplay a little bit shorter. So coming down to the last waypoint, mission's going to end there you go. Just come over the top of them trees, little tiny speck. I'm at 295 feet. I was just making sure I cleared the trees while I was practicing. And that's it, mission over. Well, so there you go, Richard. That's a quick look at the POIs and interplay function. What I do want to do though is just give a word of warning. I fell for this not too long ago. Oh, don't want that up there. What I want is along the screen. This is my Apple iPad, and on this side of the screen here, there is this little box, little doorway, covers the settings. If you tap on it, you get this heading: Auto, Initial, Manual, and Custom. Now, I've actually played with this, and I'm not quite sure Litchi's instructions on those are quite right. I will read from the instruction page. Bear with me. Up here, heading mode. It says that the heading mode defines the aircraft, the heading of the aircraft. Auto on iOS, where the aircraft will point towards the next waypoint. Initial direction, where the aircraft will keep the heading it has where the mission is started. Now, I can tell you now that the difference between initial doesn't do anything, doesn't change anything. In fact, if you look underneath, you can see the mission. If I tap initial, the waypoint headings haven't changed. If I tap auto or manual, they don't seem to change. My preferred option is to make sure before you fly any mission that has waypoints where the quad will rotate itself, make sure that's on custom. I did a mission over Short Water Park and I didn't realise and I flew it and it just basically folded its nose and stayed in the same direction. So always make sure that you go in the mission settings and you choose that option there for custom. otherwise you'll end up with your quad not going or rotating around. It's also the same, I'll show you, I've also got the same one up on Android, because I'm fair to you for both platforms. So again, it's this little cog again here, and as the Litchi app says, you've got a different thing for this. You've got heading mode, towards next waypoint, initial direction, user controlled, and waypoint defined. There you go, sorry, a bit slow on the screen there. So you've got towards next waypoint, where it will just point towards next waypoint, initial direction, user controlled. Waypoint defined is the one where it will go according to which way you've set the heading when you set them up in the mission hub. Always make sure that that has been selected, or else your mission won't work. So Richard, I hope this helps explain the difference between a POI mission and an Interpolate mission. I don't think I can go any more into detail than I have done. There is a litchi.com, flylitchi.com help page with some explanations on, and again, having a good Google round will show sort of other things about Litchi, the waypoints. There's a chap called Jason Big J Leak. I'll put the link to his video below. It's done a really good tutorial on points of interest and showing you how to set them up and so on. I'll make sure I put the link down below when I put this video together. But in the meantime, that as always is all I've got to say. Thanks very much for watching. If you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe to my channel. I'm always adding new videos as and when I can. In the meantime, safe flying as always, take care, and I'll see you soon.